now our next topic is going to be all the different texting laws out there. Now, I should probably learn a bit about these, but I don't know enough about them yet, so Pauly, fill us in.
Well, that's kind of the idea. We'll fill everybody in a little bit, at least for what we know. I mean, we don't claim to know everything, but we'll kind of give you a little bit more of an opinion on this. It's just, okay, first of all, we'll talk specifically about texting.
What's the laws? Tell me what the laws are.
As far as the actual law, and one of the main things I'll let you know right now, up until January 1st, there's supposed to be all warnings for people. If you get pulled over in the first month, you're supposed to get a warning. So if you get pulled over for that, kind of just chill out a little bit, and you should get a warning. So if, I have a problem with that. If I was to get pulled over for speeding, I kind of like, go find something to do. Go break in, go bust a criminal or something, or go arrest a drug dealer or a pedophile.
Can you text at a stoplight?
Well, my understanding of it is that you can receive incoming texts, and you can dial numbers and receive phone calls. Okay. So I think it's a matter of the amount of time you use. So if you, this is another thing which makes it such a goofy law, is that how do you enforce that? How do you enforce if I go like this? Yeah. And go like that? You
have to dial someone.
Well, if I receive a text, what if I'm trying to unlock my phone and then hit the green button or whatever and then pick it up? Instead of going like that or like that and I'm reading it, okay, I'm reading it. Yeah. How does a cop know, based on from here up for the window, how does he know if I'm using my thumb or if I'm just holding it and reading it? Yeah. That makes no sense. It's impossible to enforce something like that, okay?
It is impossible. How would they know?
Well, yeah. What if I'm talking on a speakerphone? What if I'm talking like this, holding my phone up here like this? Or, what's the, I suppose there is quite a difference in doing this versus doing this, because that is hard to do. And I think there also is a rule that it has to do with age, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, see, now that I kind of like that idea.
I do.
I drive the interstate every day.
And you see young girls on the
phone? These girls texting. I mean, it's terrible. Well, swerving in and out of the lanes on I-90.
You can almost guarantee it when you see somebody doing this, unless you're driving my old Yukon that I used to have where you couldn't keep the thing straight. You get up there and you look at somebody, they're doing this, or they got their with their knee and they're doing this and that. So
in a skirt, they're doing that in a skirt.
The intent of the law, the spirit of the law, I think is good. Okay, but of course, we've got to look at the issue of how many laws do we put on the books? When was the last time you saw a law taken off the books? I don't care if it's texting, has to do with driving, has to do with drinking, whatever. When was the last time a law was pulled off the books? At some point, we need to, stop the power of the government and any arm of the government, meaning the police. Stop the power. Okay, and the power trips, and give it back to the people who gave the police and the courts and everybody else that power to begin with.
Now, fans, he's saying this, and his dad's a retired police officer.
And I'm a retired agent, arm of the government.
He was an arm of the government.
As a county supervisor in the late 90s, early 2000s. So
exactly.
I don't think that I'm saying this just because I'm spiteful that I got a ticket for whatever this
we want our rights back.
Yeah, it's...
Not that I'm saying the texting law is good or bad.
Well, I think to some extent it's good and bad. Yeah. Of course, I don't think that it should apply to me, because if I'm texting, it's for something important, most likely, okay? And just the thing, we'll go back to how do you enforce something where, okay, you've got the right to be on your phone for a matter of seconds, or is it 5 seconds, is it 10 seconds?
Exactly.
If you can send a fast text, well, boom, 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 or one of those phones where it finishes your word, because I've got an ancient phone. My phone is probably about a $5 phone. You got to type every word in there, and then if you hit the wrong button, it sends it to the wrong person, or it sends it half done or something. So as far as the texting law goes, I'm against it. If I had to say yes or no, I'd say I'm against it, because the main reason, too many laws being put on the books, giving too much general power to the police. They can find anything to pull you over for. They can say, all right, you were going too slow. You were going 1 mile per hour over the speed limit. Okay, you were texting. Your treads on your tires aren't big enough. Yeah. You were swerving.
Tail lights out.
Yeah, tail lights out, and then it's the kind of the snowball effect. Once they pull you over, they'll find more and more things, and you have just as much of a right as the police do to have a bad day and be ornery or not want to cooperate with them.
Exactly.
But they always can find a reason to give you a ticket.
You saying they may be above the law?
I think, well, I'll tell you what, and I'm not going to go too far on this, but when I was a county...
I made that statement once to these cops.
Well, he made a statement at the Brewer game that we got ejected from one time that we know our rights, we have our rights.
Exactly.
and they had enough of us.
Yeah.
And I said, Harold, what's it going to get us? You know, a few hours in jail and just... And you know, once the cops,
don't I get a phone call?
Well, yeah. Well, but once the police arrest you, they don't care.
Yeah.
They do this with you. Let you know, pay your money to the courts, keep the clerk of courts employees busy, keep the judge and his workers busy, which is
to cut his story there. We got ejected from the Brewer game for clapping too loud
and standing on our feet and yelling, being excited.
The usher told us to sit down.
Sit down in the bottom of the ninth inning, an actual pennant chase in 08. And this is in the end of September, a pennant chase in Milwaukee.
And then we miss Bronze Grand Slam.
Bronze Grand Slam, where whatever phone advertisement was, I think it might have been the iPhone.
The iPhone has it on their ad.
Has that Grand Slam, that home run on their iPhone.
Yeah.
So we're walking out, and the whole place almost, it's like the whole stadium shook.
Yeah,
when everybody went on their feet.
The ground was shaking.
And I knew it. I said, oh, Harold, something happened. It's monumental. It's historic. And we're out here. And you know, the security guard, the cop was, ha ha ha, look what we got. He
was.
You know, so anyway, that was something that you just, once you get a bad taste in your mouth for law enforcement, it's hard to bring it back. It's hard to get the respect back.
We'll have to get Officer Friendly on here for an interview or two.
Because we know that there's a good handful of good cops out there, men and women, and I've met,
we know too many of them.
Yeah, we know a few, and of course,
Janesville cops, we didn't say anything bad about you.
Well,
Paul did. I didn't.
Well, that's your right. It's your right to say whatever you want, and don't accuse me of saying bad things just to get yourself out of trouble. You know, stick up for yourself.
I still got one free pass coming.
Stand up for yourself. You know.
That is, you're right.
You don't have a right to stand up for yourself.
Oh, I'll stand up for myself. That's how I get into trouble.
And tell them what they're doing wrong.
All right.
All right. Well, anyway.
Now this is going to lead into our next segue.
What do you got for another on the street?
Tell you what. There's a couple of Janesville musicians that were caught out in some karaoke. And that's what our next segment is.
I wonder who that could be.
So let's roll the tape now.
Well, she was an American girl, raised on the promises. She could never think that there was a little more life somewhere else. After all, it was a great big world, and lots of places to run to. Yeah, and she had to die trying. Promise you, show me gonna keep. Oh yeah. All right, take it easy, baby. Make it last all night. She was an American girl. Well, it was kinda cold that night. She started off on the balcony. On the wall, like a weeds crashing on the beach. And oh, what a desperate moment there. He crept back in a memory. God is so thankful, something that's so close, but still so far out of reach. Oh yeah, all right, take it easy, baby. Make it last. She was an American girl.
For our next topic, we have gays in the military. Tara, did you want to comment on that?
That's specifically the Don't Ask, Don't Tell repeal. Is that what we're going to say it is?
I think so.
A Clinton-era policy. And one of our next on the street interviews, we might have some of that. But Maybe
we'll go back to that later.
Yeah. So on the next,
my father-in-law's a retired colonel, so I better be careful there.
Well, on the next on the table show, we'll go into something like that.
Exactly.
So you got anything else you want to add before we?
I do real quick. Michael Vick, yesterday, Michael Vick complained of poor sportsmanship with the Giants. And I don't know where this is coming from.
I think he had a problem at home. I think he might have had an argument with his kids, or it's kind of one of those things you bring your problems from home.
Do you think Michael Vick has always been the best sportsman?
Well, I don't think he's been a bad sportsman just because he had problems off the field. I don't know if that makes him a bad.
Would you let him watch your dogs?
I would.
Would you?
Yeah, I think he's rehabilitated, and I think a lot of people don't give him enough. I don't know if credit's the right word, but forgiveness maybe.
Yeah.
So I give the guy forgiveness, and I say he's paid his debt to society, and that'll be something we can talk about. Guy's
unreal. Guy is unreal.
So anyway, I
give him credit on the football field.
I give him credit on the football field. So until next time, we are off the table.
Off the table.
There are times when you can beckon. There are times when you must call. You can take a lot of reckoning, but you can't take it all. There are times when I can help you out, and times that you must fall.